All right, welcome to the final episode of the Barcast podcast. I am a bit sad, yes, because George got asked today. Never once he had to ask me if he want to do it or not. Let's talk about bar, right? So, all let's talk about is bar. Is they are good excuse to talk about bar.
Right.
This is the last one for this season. A successful 2021 bar November. I would say that myself. How about you, George?
I think so. I mean, again, I think just getting the event to happen was a major success.
Yeah.
And the way it turned out as well, I think, we talked about 2020 being the first time bar really became a spectator event. This time was even more so. We figured out a lot of things from the previous event. So PEG looked better. The flow was better. It was a better experience for spectators. It was a better experience for athletes. It was a better experience for volunteers. So I think generally we have to say that, we're improving with each event.
Yeah.
And this one was the one I think we knocked it out of the park. So COVID, cooperate. Next year we're going to have 5,000 people in PEG.
Wow.
At least that's
Hope we have enough parking for all of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely do. I mean, we last year we had a problem with parking.
Yeah.
Obviously. And I think people thought once we used that, what is normally the car park space for obstacles, people thought, well, we're going to park in PEG.
Yeah.
But they forget that PEG is 125 acres worth of space, right?
It's just land.
And again, I got to say, Paul Bourne has been super supportive. Mm-hmm. Paul came out himself and cut down areas for us. We got the guy with the swipe to cut down all the parking for the volunteers and athletes in one area, spectators in another. And we still have more parking space that we didn't even use.
Yeah.
So I think, we have space to grow. PEG is definitely the home for November going forward.
Yeah.
A big shout out to PEG Farms.
Guys watching this podcast at least once, probably twice before next year, November. Please support the farmhouse restaurant and cafe up there at PEG Farm. Go support PEG Farm. Tell everybody about it because we know it's a beautiful location and we want to continue to, we growing. We want PEG to grow.
Support
as
them
well.
because they support us.
For sure. Welcome, double podium player, Sir Daniel Gonzalez. Congratulations, honey. Oh, God, so excited for you. Second place in the singles this year. Mm-hmm. First place in the team event. How does it feel to be?
Gosh.
I mean, you've been on the podium before in the singles, but never on the podium in the team, have you?
No.
To climb onto the top.
Just barely missed it last time, but
Yeah.
How does it feel to climb onto the top of the podium in the teams?
it's I honestly the entire time it was happening, like every time we stopped to do an obstacle, Jade would look at me and say, "Oh my God, Dan, I think we could do this. I think we could do this." And the whole time we were just getting more and more excited.
Yeah, but trying to temper it,
Yeah,
because you
Try
know
to
from
keep
last year
focused.
that anything can happen.
Anything.
Right.
So we just I'm so excited. I'm still like on a high. I can't believe it.
Right. All the hard work you would have put in. Like, let's talk about that because you came out of lockdown in form.
Did I?
Yeah, in more form than a lot of people.
Yeah. So I was telling some people that kind of had a disappointing bar.
Yeah.
I used what happened last time to really fuel what I wanted to do this year.
Yeah.
So I from the time it was time to train, I was like, I'm ready. Like I knew exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Focused all year, you would say?
all year. Literally, I was so incredibly focused this entire year.
As her coach, George, let me hear the difference you found in Danny this year versus previous years of bar.
I think the main thing was actually holding her back a little bit, right? So, it's like we have a program, stick to the program, follow the process. Don't feel like, again, so I can do more. We have a program, the program's working. Don't feel like you got to go out there and rumble and do more because, you're feeling your fitness.
Yeah.
So we had planned, when we went into lockdown, I basically thought we were going to be locked down for 6 weeks.
right.
So she said she wanted to train. I was like, okay, we're going to basically train it like a fight camp, like a 6-week fight camp, which was like 2 a day, sometimes 3 days, including the mobility.
Yeah.
And at the end of that 6-week block.
And she didn't miss any of them classes.
No. And after that 6-week block, like I think she kind of was in love with the results already. If this is where it could be after 6 weeks, what can I be after a year?
Right.
So we did another 6 weeks block thinking that, we can be back on the lockdown. I'd be somebody, let's train some more. And then when we finally came out of lockdown, like you said, she'd already built quite a bit of fitness already.
Yeah.
And then it was just obstacle proficiency. But I think the main change as well has to be like the mental. You know, the
I
mental
think a lot of
game-
Barbarians watching and want to hear this.
Yeah, the mental game is something that, you know, we still need to get a little further on with it, but that was a major improvement for sure for me. You know, like not getting frustrated and not getting frantic and not getting in a frenzy when something goes wrong, but understand that there's obstacle course racing.
Right.
You know, even in normal everyday life, you walk out there and you strip up and you say, what, right? Things will go wrong, and that's how it is. It's how you respond to those things and how you react to them that will tell your ultimate conclusion in the race. So I saw her, like, I think we had like one little meltdown in training. And like, I gotta be honest, it did kind of like give me pause because it was the last workout.
We're actually going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. Yeah.
Right.
Because she promised me we can talk about it, so you're going to talk about it.
But up until then, I was cool. I was like, you know what? If you go out there and you race and you do your best race and you come fifth, I'd be happy.
Right.
You know, because at least you went through the process and you did your best. But that last workout where she just completely had a meltdown, that one
Unraveled,
made me want to, like, you know, show the back of my hand. And
That would have been the Tuesday workout.
Oh
And we
my
talked extensively after that workout, because in that workout, I fell off a traverse bar. I never felt that obstacle before.
right.
So both of us, I know Danny left angry. I didn't leave as angry as Danny, but I mentioned that when you ready to talk, let me talk, because I can't believe this is the last workout before the thing. And we both here feeling obstacle. It's almost like you got a mock exam coming up for the common entrance, right? And you mess with the mock exam. You can say, but again, a bursary. I can feel, right? So,
but the thing is, it's one workout. That's the thing. It was just another workout, and it wasn't. And what I tried to get across to her is that, you know, she was late coming from work. She didn't have a chance to warm up properly. She didn't have a chance to mentally prepare. There were a lot of things that were different to the normal session.
Right.
So in that context, it really didn't mean anything. Now, if she'd had a proper preparation, she was there on time, and she'd gone through her warm-up process, and it still turned out like that, then maybe you could like give it a little bit more weight. But in that context, it was just a throwaway workout, and let's move on.
let's talk about that Tuesday.
Oh my God.
And the days between Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I saw you a few days in there, but yeah. How was that then? Getting your mind back focused, because I could imagine that after Tuesday's workout, which is just the last workout before you're thinking to yourself, well, this is like last year all over again. Well, how's this going to...
I was terrified. Like, honestly, that's the biggest... I kept feeling so much fear after that workout. I was like, I can't believe I've been doing pretty well up until now, and then the week of, I have this, like... The one obstacle I've never missed, and that was the grips. I never missed it. Not once, not in training. And then I missed it on Tuesday, and I was like, completely.
As George said, it's obstacle course racing. Anything can go wrong.
And he didn't start by saying how he led us up to this. He started by saying, this is a dress rehearsal. Do everything you're supposed to do. If you using these gloves, this. If you didn't, make sure that... And then you mess up. And I'm like, well, that's it.
Yeah, but it wasn't. But you didn't go through the dress rehearsal part because you weren't there on time. You didn't go through your warm up properly. You didn't. All those things.
That's what happened to me on Saturday.
Jeez,
What happened on Saturday then?
Well, on Saturday, how did it start? It started with some people saying that we were gonna have a late start. So I was like, okay, I have enough time to go to the bathroom. So I ran all the way down to go to the bathroom.
The bathrooms we normally use, those were locked on the day, Danny.
No. Well, they opened them up. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I go to the bathroom, and there's a little line, and then some people are like, "Oh, she's in the female race, so let her go before you." And then like I'm hearing my name, but I'm like, "No, that can't be us," because I'm like looking at my watch. I still have 2 minutes to 2, and then like some people were saying it was a late start, so I have time. And then my sister comes running down to the bathroom. She's like, everyone's freaking out. So I'm like sprinting to the start line. By the time I get there,
full sweat.
Listen.
That's a full warm up.
It was a 100-meter sprint. I've never run that fast in my entire life.
Right.
That's probably more than 100 meters.
Yeah, it was. By the time I got there, I was exhausted. I could feel it in my legs. Like my heart was racing. So it was the adrenaline. It was like feeling tired from that. And I know that George tried to stall a little bit, but it didn't really help.
Listen, they got pictures of me rolling my eyes like, really so.
The people say, right, they get tired of clapping. Like the announcer says, if you're cheering on Amherst Chase, clap for Jane. And people just say, all right, let me start. It's obvious you ready for Danny now. We're going to actually talk about all of the races on the day, but as Danny has already started to lead up to her race, we're going to start with the individual female and then we're going to backtrack
Right.
to the open wave. So tell me then, so you get to the start line fully hot and sweaty, and it was a hot day too.
And it was really hot.
Yeah.
First time that Bar had sunshine the whole weekend.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the rainfall Friday.
Yes, and it was like extremely overcast. I was like, yes, it's gonna be nice and cool. Hopefully it doesn't rain. It's like a bright sunny day. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, I got on the start line, full sweat, and from the time we started, it was Jade and Amherst, like
sprint.
Yeah.
I saw the start of that race. It started hot.
It was hot. It was really hot, and I kept with them up until the first carry.
Sandbag. Mm-hmm. So you stayed with that, cause that opening pace. When they saw the videos of that opening, it wasn't there to see the race. But Rhonda and I, congratulations to Rhonda as well. We had spoken before, and it was like, we can take our time to this thing, right? And so I saw her at the start. Her start was very slow, but everybody else was in a full 200 pace.
Yeah. It was really fast. And I had that thought too. I was like, I want to stick with them as long as I can, but I still want to run my own race.
Yeah.
But like, if I wanted any chance of being like at least second, I knew I had to kind of stay up there.
Right.
So I stayed with them for up until the carry, and then it was Amherst, Jade, and then myself.
Okay, did they gap you?
On
the carry, or did you stay with them?
No,
during
they didn't
the carry?
gap me on the carry. It was the run after that. What's the distance after that?
I think that's another about. What we say?
I would say 200-300 meters, but you got to go over and under as well.
Yeah, I know from the lookout to that to where we turn the corner is 600 meters.
That's a long one.
So maybe another 400 meters.
F so much, but with the unders and the going over the 4-foot walls and that's those girls, Amherst and Jay, they have incredible engines.
Exactly.
So they're probably going to, and coming off of a carry, that's when they think, and I could speak for Amherst here. No, Amherst said that after the carry, she said, we can see who can stand with me. No. So that's when she dropped the hammer then. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're saying, you're watching them.
Yeah, so from there, it was like, no, I just have to try and keep my composure as much as possible. I was already tired. Mm-hmm. And then it was that field with the
So you go over the 6-foot wall. Yeah. Then go over the A-frame.
And crawl.
So right now, and to my mind, at this time, you're thinking no failable obstacles yet.
Yeah.
So you don't really know how the race is going to pan out.
Yeah. Basically that's where I was at.
So you go over the 6-foot wall, you're still watching them, still tracking them?
I can still see them, So I was like, okay, I'm not freaking out. Then we get off of that field, and there's
8-foot
wall. Are you looking back at this time to see
anyone?
No,
not once. Not once. I was just looking at two of them in front of me. I knew that on the field with the rings and the anchors that I was gonna have a chance there.
Right.
At least to pass Jade. I did not foresee her failing the slip wall, but I was really glad that she did. I love you, Jade. I love you so much.
So you get over the 8-foot wall in one try.
Yeah.
And you get on the field. The inverted wall is nothing again for you. So even though the 8-foot wall is the first really failable obstacle, I think a lot of girls may have had to do burpees there as well. And that may be where y'all even put a greater distance on the rest of the field. Atlas Stone carry went well, I would assume, because you went through that. How was the tire wall, this modified tire wall?
I gave it too much. I fell on the other side. I'm not feeling this wall. I flipped over it.
One of the things for me that I felt that I should have adjusted in my post-mortem would be when I found out that there were going to be no grips.
Yes.
How disappointed were you to find out that there were not going to be grips? Or how relieved were you because you failed the grips on Tuesday?
So I got over Tuesday. Like Wednesday morning, I was over it.
Okay. Good.
I was like, okay, so I had one. I saw Amherst feel the grips like a couple times.
Yeah.
And I filled it once. I was like, okay, Dan, relax. You're not going to feel it kind of thing. I still felt comfortable going into it that I was going to get the grips.
Yeah.
So that was, when I heard there was no grips, I was like, I honestly, I was crushed because I felt like that's where I was going to take over something.
And maybe that, because as you said, if you saw Amherst struggle a bit with it throughout the training, maybe if that was the one chance.
Exactly. That I was going to get anywhere.
George, over to you. Wait, were there no grips?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the thing with Amherst is go to school on obstacle course racing.
She does.
Yeah.
When after Amherst missed the grips that day, she was on them every day. She was on them as often as she could. I'm not sure, especially with a shorter setup, because there were only 6 grips on the day, 6 or 7 grips. I don't know that she would have missed those. I don't know that she would have missed those.
Yeah, we don't know, but there was a chance.
There was a chance. There was a chance. I mean, there was a chance, but But I don't know that she would have missed those on the day.
Right.
But either way, even if she missed them, the one thing with Amherst is that she's so clean on the obstacles that with almost every obstacle, she's getting like half a second lead or half a second lead. And I think that's where other ladies in the field have some room to improve, transitioning and obstacle efficiency and
running
just
between obstacles.
And running between obstacles. But I think the race is the same for everybody. Yeah. If you don't have the grips to do, you can't feel them neither. So right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Monkey bars, simple. You like those monkey bars?
Yeah, well, those are the ones we train on. So
it's a long one though.
Yeah, it was pretty long. Yeah. But I was comfortable on those. When we got to slip wall, I was like, okay, I saw Jade fail, and I was like, oh man.
She was in front of you then, yeah. So at
I,
this time, is Jade running with Amherst or
no?
Amherst
she was already on the other field, right?
Wow.
And Jade was right in front of me. I was on the monkey bars when she was running up the slip wall.
So you saw her go up the slip wall.
So I saw her go up, and I saw her slide back down, and I was like, I'm already terrified because I never got the slip wall.
Yeah.
So I psyched myself up, but I'm like, okay, I have to get this one. I even paused, like he was complaining about how long I paused before I went up, but I was like, I gotta get this.
And all this time, you could see Jade on the side doing burpees. So.
Yeah, that already psyched me out. So, because I saw her get it when we were doing the pop-up.
Oh, right.
Anyway, so then I just gave it everything and ran up. And as soon as I got up, I could hear my sister and Danielle on the sidelines freaking out because they knew how scared I was about the slip wall. So I could hear them freaking out. I had a mini freak out inside. But then I got over. So that's when I passed Jade on. That's the obstacle I passed her on.
Yeah. You don't know how much burpees she would have had left at that time, how much lead you would have gained when you ran from the slip wall down to the rings.
I think she probably did like 5 burpees. I'm not sure. Like I saw her coming down when I was finishing the monkey bars.
Oh, okay.
So it was like she had just started her burpees.
Right. Let's try to gauge it in my head out for the listeners how much advantage you gain in now.
Yeah. So then it was the rings,
anchors and flats. How were they for you? Because they were up. We had only seen them twice before at the pop-ups, and they were put up. Thankfully, George, the day before, once again, kudos to you, kudos to the volunteers, kudos to Stephen and them for getting the course built out in time. It wasn't a hammering and thing on Saturday. It was everything. So people were actually able to come and practice the anchors and flats. Did you practice the anchors and flats beforehand?
Yeah, I did it the day before. I did it once the day before, I was helping coach somebody, and then I didn't want to do too much because, once again, I didn't want to fall off and psych myself out.
It's always a risk, though. It is psych out yourself or psych up yourself.
Yeah. And because I had already, it was an obstacle that I kind of just jumped on and was able to do. I just chalked it down to like that. I'm one of those people that I can, just kind of So I didn't want to do too much of that. But after that, it was the traverse, the container traverse. Yeah,
could you see Amherst doing burpees?
So at that point, people were running to me. Like, everybody was like, Dan, Amherst doing burpees, come. And I was like, shut up. I was like, stop talking to me. I was freaking out because I didn't want that to make me, like, fall off the container or something
that kind of happened when you started to get, I said that George always talked about when you put pressure on people or when people put pressure on you.
I mean, they thought they were, doing well because, but I was like, no, don't tell me anything.
Yeah.
And then I could hear the announcer who I really like. I could hear him.
She's
got burpees. So anyway, I do the container traverse, get off of that. There's the crawl.
Yeah.
And then I fall off the traverse.
You fell off the traverse? Oh, wow. Does that ever happen to you?
It happened last year.
Right.
But once again, all through training, I never fell off. But my arms are really tired and.
Because George was a monster for designing the course that you had. Like, it was supposed to be grips, then monkey bars, then rings, then anchors and flats, then container traverse. And these are all forearm killers.
Yeah.
And then the real forearm killer, which is the low traverse.
Yeah.
So, but this is say your arms are smashed.
I don't find it to be a forearm killer unless you're swinging for a long time.
So that first,
I guess because you're climbing uphill on the first one.
That first one, and then
how did that happen before?
I was hanging on for too long, and I was
trying to reach the nunchuck.
Yeah, and my arms were blowing up, and I was like, screw it. So I just came off.
Interesting, because what I would say, I haven't spoken to Amherst. Amherst, I said, how much how you feel the traverse? And she said, I ain't feel that. I get off. I tell myself that I know how close down is. I can get off and I can do the burpees. And it's going to take too long.
Yeah.
We think of that as a strategy.
I always feel the obstacle back. Raise your hand. I mean, she saw that she probably was not going to complete it. Yeah. And I think, we talk about the men's racing a little bit, but, I think she made the right decision. Mm-hmm. If you think that you're going to take longer on the obstacle, then you're going to take doing 20 burpees, then, jump off the obstacle. The only difference I would say is if you're super tired at that point. Yeah. Because the burpees will gas you. Mm-hmm. But at that point in time, what we got, like maybe 400 or 500 meters left in the race?
Not really. It was not just what we got a log carry.
Oh, the log. I forget what the log. Yeah.
If you just had to run to the finish then. But
because in my mind it was straight to the rope and then up, but I remember it included the log in the last part.
And the log was a fairly long carry.
200 meters, yeah.
That was
but yeah, it's a trade-off. You either got to, if you could think you can get through it in time. What she did say to me was that she went for the nunchuck, she hit it, and it was swinging. Right. Mm-hmm. And rather than wait for it to settle and grab it again, she just decided to get off.
Right. But she had time, though.
Right.
I mean, when you look at the finishing time, she had time. Mm-hmm. So she could have stayed a little bit longer, but I think
she didn't know how far down.
She didn't know exactly.
Yeah.
So you do your burpees. Is Jade anywhere close to you now?
Once again, I wasn't looking back, so I have no idea.
Is the mental thing? George smiling biggest at that point,
I was not looking back at all, but the carry was tough for me.
Having just done burpees.
Yeah, I was gassed after the burpees. And then it was just running into the gully, doing the rope climb, and
had a big squad around you by this time, like cheering you on, going into the gully, or it was just you one? You and Dana?
Yeah, it was just me and Dana.
Dana's her sister.
She did the whole race.
Yeah. Right.
But and then he just climbed out, and it was the last obstacle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You had done that on dive platform, modified dive platform.
Thank you, by the way, for making me do that that day that we.
That was the Thursday.
Yeah.
I tell you, let me go and do this because the sensation when you first get up on there is unreal, Georgia. Yeah. It's like a 2 or 3 times to really say yourself, but this thing's stable. Mm-hmm. Make us to Stephen again. I was ever say make it through the weekend. I know ICBL probably can't look at this. I said, shh, right. You sponsor this for you. Yeah. But it worked well. 18 competitive teams all went over it. Mm-hmm. All the corporate teams went over it. All the open wave teams went over it, and then all the individuals. So it worked well.
Yeah. Yes.
It crossed the finishing line, and you're in second place. You finished this year.
I was like ecstatic. I was so happy.
Immediately after you started to think about Sunday, or are you?
No, I didn't allow myself. I mean, I reveled in it a little bit.
You reveled, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just. I mean, I felt like everything happened the way how it was supposed to happen. Yeah. I really was concentrating this time to have a clean race, but it didn't pan out like that. Right. But it went the only way it could have gone, and I was happy with my performance.
I'm happy with your performance, and I'm happy for you as well. Proud of you as well. I haven't seen you put in all the work. So, George, we're going back to open wave now. Neither of us would have really seen much of the open wave competitors on Saturday. How was the open wave event? I think it's great to start it with the open wave as well.
Yeah, starting with the open wave gives us kind of a low pressure introduction for the volunteers. Yeah. It would be nice if we could have the same teams of volunteers come back from event to event, but a year apart, it's never going to happen. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are in the Give Back program at the University of West Indies or at school or whatever. So very rarely do we see them beforehand, and trying to get youngsters to come all the way up to PEG to do a briefing or even a walkthrough is impossible. So we appoint team captains and we communicate through them. But at the same time, it's only ever going to be their imagination until they see it the first time. So the open wave doesn't really, it's not that it's not a serious event, because obviously people take it seriously, but it's a fun event. There's no podium, there's no medals, there's nothing really at stake apart from, pride. Yeah. So it gave them a chance to see the whole thing work, and we could make adjustments afterwards. The fastest team through was FOMO. They were in second wave. I think Lockdown was the first team in the first wave. We didn't really It
was 2 waves of open wave.
There were 2 waves of open of the open wave. But we didn't really want to first, second, third, and put up because again, it's meant to be fun. Yeah. And you're not comparing apples to oranges. But we still wanted those teams.
But the teams could be compared.
Yeah. Anyway. You could have 4 men in one team, and we had a team like that. You could have 3 men and 1 woman, and we had FOMO was like that, which was the team with the Marshalls and Stuart Gill. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to compare it, but well done to them. Hopefully, some of them will now be moving into the competitive wave.
That's the goal, isn't
next
it?
year. Yeah, maybe, but there's some people like Shanna and them. Shanna says she just loves the open wave. She's never doing competitive again.
Right.
She likes that distance. She enjoys that race. She does it mainly for fun and challenge as well, but she doesn't think she's ever moving to competitive.
Okay. Nice. So you had the open wave first, and they went through. They had a good time. They were made sure that all the obstacles thing, that all the volunteers know what they're doing. They went lunch and they came back. So we started with the women, and then we had 3 competitive waves of competitive men. Yes. 3 ultra competitive waves of competitive men. So we can start with wave 1, which is the wave that I was in.
Right.
And pace like fire.
I mean, Darren Matthews is in the race, right?
Yeah.
So.
But for me, it was not only. But I told you already. I didn't know who Dario Weeks was.
Right.
I look at this. You start list, and I'm like, everybody here is faster than I am. Everybody. So we got not only Darren, who is fast, but we got finally get to see Darren and Fabian in this running together, and then we also have Raphael, Raheem,
right,
and Adande and Tompi. Right. So I look and Jet. Right? You can't forget nobody in this race, right?
Right.
So all of these men, everybody in that race, to my mind, can run. Everybody, including me, can run a 21 5K,
right,
easily. But then you got men in that race that can run a 17-minute 5K. So so we start off, and it's paced like fire from the beginning. The men actually had Darren in the middle of the pack. They might have Darren boxing for a point in time.
That was part of their strategy, I think, to kind of box Darren. I know at the beginning he was trying to find a little space on the verge. He really couldn't get through. Yeah. But once the carry was done, just like Amherst, I guess, he put the hammer down and he started to really pump. I think, you got to give Darren his props, because Darren never see anchors and flats yet. He
actually, in the briefing, he says to you, which one is the anchors and flats?
Yeah, exactly. He never even seen that obstacle before.
And then practice on it.
More practice on it. Container traverse is relatively straightforward.
Is it no? I've seen people get on that for the first time and take really long.
But this is Darren Matthews talking about, right? He's got our obstacle, and he's also fearless, right?
Right.
So he's not going to get up there and start thinking and being all hesitant to figure out. He's just going to jump on it. Yeah. And he's going to go, and if he feels that he's going to do 20 burpees and move on, right? Yeah. So I think for him to not really have the same kind of level of preparation or that some of us have, he's just an amazing athlete.
Yeah, he's got a massive engine. Adande has a massive engine, but Dario Weeks, the find of the race.
Yeah, and I had told people about Dario. When they don't listen to me, tell
me about bear people that's bear shit. Those will remain nameless though.
Dario came to a workout one Wednesday morning, and Wednesday morning workout was mostly corporate people. Yeah. Right? And when we finished and we do the 500-meter run, he came back in like 120 something. Right? So like, this man fast. I was like, you should think about doing singles. Then he came and he did a Friday evening workout, which was a simulation workout, which is, we train it for a little while and we actually race it. He'd never seen the course before. So he made me work that day because I had to stay in front of him in the truck.
So you could see the course.
And tell him what to do. So he was so far. I thought like it would start. One of the other guys would be in front and he would follow them, but he was just so far ahead of everybody.
Very comfortable.
And it was like I kept trying to encourage him to enter the singles because I thought he could do well. Yeah. And there he was, bronze medal.
Bronze medal is his first year.
Yep.
Yeah. Phenomenal athlete again. So that race, as I said, I would have had to adjust my strategy knowing that they were not grips, because I was thinking to myself, I'm going to probably catch some of these guys, A, on the tire wall, B, on the grips, C, on the anchors and flats, and then on the low traverse. So those are my 4 points that I was thinking to myself. But because they had the grips, the boy can feel them. Not many guys feel the tire wall. I see Darren hit hard. Yeah, but he, as you say, fearless though. I can worry about the landing part when I get in the air. Right. Whereas we worry about the landing part for the run up. Right. So and Darren failed the thing, or he got off the low traverse.
He failed the low traverse. Yeah. And that was the point in the race where I thought there might have been an opportunity for Adande Brown to actually take the lead.
Adande.
Yeah. So when Adande was on the low traverse while Darren was doing the burpees, and I was watching him, and he was swinging, and he was swinging, and he was swinging. And I think I made the same decision he did too, because Darren's such a strong runner that if he could possibly get through that obstacle and start running before Darren with so little of the race left, it might have been a closer finish.
Right.
But in the end, he ended up spending too much energy.
Yeah.
Still had to get off and do the burpees, and then the race was pretty much over.
Yeah. Dario ran a clean race.
Dario ran a clean race,
Yeah.
I think in that wave, he might have been one of the few to run a clean race.
Yeah.
So it ended up with Darren first.
As Tom Bill said, burpees game way about there. Where burpees game way about there, but that guy's so fit. And Dario, I think Tom P ran a clean race too. Ran a clean race. But that guy's so fit that they make a do burpees down there, and Darren I still come first and second.
Yeah, and I mean I think it was like 3 minutes.
I don't have the results.
I think the gap was about 3 minutes between Darren
and Dario was saying that he felt like he could have catch it down there. He let go down there at the top of the hill. He keeps saying.
Yeah. He said Darren said he thought that Donde said that he thought that the climb out of the gully, that incline is what took it out of Dario's legs. And Dario said he got there. He stared at the dive platform and for a second tried to figure out what to do. right. So Donde just attacked it and went. They were both on the dive platform at the same time.
Oh, that's a tight finish. You got any photos or videos of that?
I do, yeah.
That's good. We got a lot of content for the bar_race page.
Correct.
Yeah.
We've been dropping it every day, so
just we get mad when the feed is miserable, man. Yeah. Special mention for me too now coming out this second wave will be Phil 7, who always it can't be a coincidence, it can't be a fluke now. 3rd year in a row, this guy is turn up on bar day and run his best race. He's a big day horse.
And Phil is super clean and he just doesn't run a clean race, but he's super efficient on the obstacles.
Right.
You know, if Phil wanted to do the course, he could probably coach the obstacles. He's got them all under his belt. So he's going to be efficient, his transitions are going to be good, and his run is good.
Yeah.
You know, the carries are as good as anybody else's.
Yeah.
So, he ran up out of that second wave and
got finished fourth overall. I tell myself, like, wonder how Tom P feel. It's not, I can get Tom P pace, man. But not because of the fact that...
The second year he came fourth.
Yeah. Last year he came fourth. This year he came fifth.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
First year he came third. So
he's progressing.
6th place for you next year. But now for Phil to run in that second wave, which would have to have been competitive as well. People say that second wave, I didn't see the start, but they said Jamal went out
Jamal
fire, so he carried the guys fast. And then after Rasta Jamal was ballhead Jamal, who was a marathon runner, he was also he's a runner too.
Right.
So they may have the pace up, and then Phil whenever they fail, then Phil would just take over and run. So kudos to Phil 7 again, man, running a massive race there. Lots of top 10s coming out of that field as well.
I think the person from the first wave who didn't do as well as we expected might have been Raphael. I'm not sure what happened to him, but he was a very good 1-2-4 guy. Yeah. So we thought that he might be able to stay with the guys at least in the initial stages, but he may have had some challenges with some obstacles.
Yeah.
But most of the podium and most of the top 10 came from the first 2 waves. Yeah.
Sure. Raphael would have been closest to me because it was like, but I know how he asked you if you were looking back. I had the boy look back at. But I was watching them in front of me, and he was the person that his sandbag, I was like, okay, he's struggling. But Jet also didn't have the best of races. I think
Jet unfortunately had an incident off the A-frame.
Right.
Where one of the other competitors stepped on or fell on his ankle. And he, fair play to him, he still made sure he finished the race. Yeah. Obviously, it wasn't the outcome he was expecting. And he came back on day 2 to race again.
Yeah. So biggest to everyone who competed. We had an open wave for individuals as well?
Yeah, but nobody paid attention to that.
Okay, sorry, T.
T did actually do it. It was mostly it was a family of 4 who came and did it.
Yeah.
And we actually had one guy who came who was supposed to be doing the competitive wave, who was so busy watching the previous race that he missed his start time.
Oh no!
So we actually put him in with the open wave guys, and we gave him and we timed him individually.
Okay.
So he actually, that was Nemanja. Serbian guy. I think it was Serbian or Croatian, and we actually got him a time.
Okay, good for him, man. So we go home now after day 1, and we get ourselves together for day 2 of November, which is the corporate, which we both would have missed again, and competitive. 3 waves of competitive this year.
Yep.
And how many waves of corporate?
2 waves of corporate, 3 waves of competitive. I think even though we know like long term the corporate is going to be the area where we see the biggest growth in bar, with so many people working from home, or let me say, so many people at home.
Yeah, supposed to be working.
I think it was hard for the pipers within the office to go around and rally people and get them to join teams.
Right.
So, trying to do that virtually when people are home, like looking after the kids and trying to teach the kids at home school. We can't figure out the maths and all that superness.
Yeah.
It just never happened. So we ended up with two waves of corporate. And it was actually pretty competitive. There were teams that were training for 3-4 months, sometimes more, who were really going after this corporate.
Yeah, you find that the corporate people are taking it more and more seriously every year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And a big shout out to Chancery Call to the bar, not just because they were top of the podium, but because of all the support that they rallied. T-shirts made for everybody. Like, you weren't there, right? You were there.
I wasn't there for that.
Listen, let me tell you something, right? I mean, I keep making the joke about not knowing that there were that many lawyers in Barbados. Furthermore, in that one practice, right? Everybody got T-shirts made. It was noise all over the course. They followed them all around.
I love that.
They might have had 40 or 50 people just to support them on that event. It was really a joy to see, for sure.
Nice. So they were first. Who was second?
Second team was one of the PwC was third, no? No, PwC was second. PwC Intangibles, that's with Rachel and those. And then I think the third team was one of the ICBL teams that one of the Republic teams that had been training with the Donde. So yeah.
You got to say yourself, Republic, man. So
Republic made sure that they came and they outdid the other.
Yeah, that financial institution that wanted to. Yes, so hopefully y'all can bring more teams next year. And but biggest to Republic for that. And again, the training proven to be the key and defining factor too. Because Chancery they were training. PwC
They started
would
from
have
the
been training.
first block. They started from like in June. So big fair play to them.
Big hail to them. So the granddaddy of them all, the big one, the competitive. Tell me how you felt that went. No, but before we get there, because everybody want to talk about that. How did it work with the testing and entry and thing? How did that part work for you?
Yeah, that part worked super smooth on the Sunday. So there's an app called Volunteer Local, and big up to Volunteer Local for keeping my pricing in place for this event. Because I went to sign up and I was like, what are you asking? How much is man charging? No. I had to drop an email quick. Listen, what we're doing. But the man kept my old pricing in place. So Volunteer Local, keep my pricing in place for the next 10 or 15 years. I appreciate it. So everybody signs up through the app. And we have job tasks and shifts. So that's how we gather all the information on the volunteers. It works super, super smooth. Then you can appoint a captain, you share the contact information, etc. So we had some people who volunteered to be in charge of the pre-event testing. But I think they might have thought that they just had to write down names and so on. So nobody, like me, I got jokes at somebody, no, it's not me, boy, I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, even though the rapid test is a self-test, it's meant to be an at-home test, people just didn't want to do it themselves. So we had a bunch of volunteers at check-in who just did not want to test.
Right.
So every 5 minutes, Monica is coming to me saying, George, we can't send people to the stations because they don't want to test. Nobody's testing. And I'm like, go and tell her to test or go like, right. Becoming more and more irate at this point, right?
Yeah.
Luckily,
but you got the event to get off the ground.
Yeah, luckily for me, Jasper Blades turned up.
Jasper, he tests.
Correct. He works. Exactly. And he was actually there in the capacity of our starter.
Yeah.
But he went and he took charge of the testing.
Thank you, Jasper.
Trained a few people, and it started to just flow smoothly from then on. Yeah. We made the adjustments for Sunday as well by getting people who actually wanted to do it. And once that happened, it started to flow smoothly. The testing works. So previous to that, we did 2 pop-ups.
Yeah.
And we also did the 5K trail mix.
Yeah.
And I was starting to think that these rapid tests were just
it's only negatives.
The only negatives we're getting.
Everybody in Barbados got COVID at 7 people that come to the bar.
Exactly. If you was do bar, you're immune. By virtue of doing bar. But we actually caught somebody on day 1 who was doing the open wave. And you know, I hope he's feeling better now, but I can tell you the truth now. If that case had slipped through, it might have been worse because he's a very friendly guy. He's a very engaging guy. Yeah. You know, you never know what would have happened.
He didn't know he had it.
He didn't know he had it, exactly. So we caught it. We referred him to the gymnasium. Jasper took charge of the situation, and that was the only positive we had for the weekend. And we had a clean weekend after that.
Spectators and all were tested.
So spectators who were not fully vaccinated, they also went and did the tests. Fully vaccinated spectators were. I'm so happy people just kept their masks on. People observed the protocols. You ain't had to go and tell nobody nothing. It was a really good weekend for us from that respect.
Good to hear. And hopefully now that can be used as an example event for future sporting events going forward. That, you know what, you can include this here, get these tests and sit down, wait the 15 minutes and you go out there and compete. But it honestly felt too like a safe bubble. Even though I kept on my mask and I did keep from around as many people as possible, it still felt a level of comfort, knowing that when these people here get tested and they're negative. What my team did, we had actually went to the polyclinic the Friday, got the PCR tests beforehand, and then because I felt like that extra weight might play on me in terms of my preparation. So getting that test, I get back the next morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I was able to just present that negative PCR to them at the entrance and get into the event. So I think that works as well. So kudos to everybody for following the protocols, obeying the protocols, and let's move it with common sense all to get the Barbados Adventure Race November 2021 to happen and happen successfully. So we're back there on the Sunday now. 3 waves of competitive teams.
Yes, and we actually had more competitive teams than last year. Huh?
Yeah.
Last year we had 14. This time we had 17, I think, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it was, there's always those teams that you expect to win. Mm-hmm. And I thought that the 3rd and 4th and 5th place was up for grabs. Mm-hmm. Almost anybody else in the field could get it. Mm-hmm. But this is the first time I didn't actually see the race. Usually,
where were you? What were you doing?
I stayed and I stayed close to the start line. Yeah. I briefed each wave of
because teams. In previous years, Jamal had to stand off teams and
because I would be out at the front, like acting as outrider.
Yeah.
But big up to Simpson Motors and Isuzu, they're acted as outriders for us.
Big hail to them,
yeah. So I was able to actually relax a little bit. I had Dominic doing all the running both for me. Right? I had Deanne coming back acting as my personal assistant. Is a big up lawyer about the place, and she was running around doing my things for me as a volunteer. So it was actually a pretty relaxed day for me. And this ideally with an event like this, somebody described it as you should be a conductor of the orchestra. The conductor is never playing a violin. He's playing the orchestra, and people are doing their own roles. Everybody knows the music already, and you're just there to tell people.
Keep timing.
Keep timing. Yeah. And I was able to, if anything happens, obviously I could jump in. My phone was on and so on and so forth. But apart from that, this was like kind of the least number of steps that I've taken on a bar weekend. Yeah, I've had
congratulations to you,
steps.
You know what? If you're doing this thing for 4 or 5 years now, you ain't getting better at it. It's time for left a different profession. You know what I mean?
It's true. But part of what it is too is the help you have around you.
Yeah.
Right. And like I know how to organize races. We done Run for Life for like 10 years, but this year I feel like I found some people who. The future is bright for race direction. Mm-hmm. So between Dominic and we had Nathan for a while, but Janessa, who was the course coordinator, Nicola was in charge of obstacle monitors and so on and so forth. I had people who were really interested in making sure the event was a success. And they took a lot of load off me. Yeah. Me and like normally me and Monica's they're marking courses for 2-3 days, which is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Dominic marked the whole course himself in about half hour.
Dominic and Damian and Leander,
so and
the course, I feel this year the course is marked out better than before.
Yes.
Not to you and Monica, but
because with me, when I'm marking the course, I'm taking phone calls, I'm talking to sponsors. Yeah. We had 5 or 6 volunteers who went out there and just who did it.
Yeah.
At one point in time, I see these kids like stepping out 3 steps for every flag. You don't gotta be so precise, and they don't gotta be that close together. Yeah. But so we had a lot of help, and it made a huge difference to the success of the event for sure.
We even had, as we said, I just mentioned, barbarians, people who are competing, coming out and volunteering on the Friday.
Yeah, and 2 days before you have to race, you out there helping to mark a course. That is crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy dedication. The family is strong. So. Wave 1 would have been BioSteel, which is your team. Mm-hmm. So I need for you to tell me, this is the first time you are competing with them. This is the first time you are competing in a bar without Rianne.
Yeah.
How does it feel to go on the start line without your bestie?
I was sad.
Yeah.
It was the first bar.
And she was in another race.
She was on another team. She was doing this the whole day. She's like, I can't look at you. But I was sad because, like I said, it was my first bar without her. But I was really, really happy that she decided last minute to help out another team.
Yeah.
I was really happy that at least she
And
was taking part.
if you could do it with any other girl, I know Jade would be that girl.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But it was the first time I was on a team with any of them.
Right.
So it was a little adjustment, but I think we gelled really well together.
Preparation, you had a lot of preparation going in, or y'all just figure all four would be
really.
good? So,
We kind of, like, initially we did try that.
Yeah.
Tompi really tried to, like, get us to do things together, but then eventually we kind of realized that individually we were all training. Like, we didn't have to keep checking on each other to make sure we were training.
Yeah.
So we had confidence in each other's fitness and where everybody was.
So about things now, the obstacles that require the entire team, the 10-foot wall, the slit wall, and the
we spoke about
slush
those.
pipe come to mind.
All we did was talk about those.
Really, not even a trail run on the slit wall or anything like that.
We didn't practice. We kind of just, because everybody would have done bar at least once before.
Right.
So that being said, like, we all would have touched that particular obstacle. So we kind of had it, like, when we were talking about it, we knew when he said, okay, I'm going to be the bridge and you're going to step on me. Like, we knew exactly what he was saying.
Oh, this Tompi?
Yeah.
Right.
So we spoke about it and then we just did it.
What was the most challenging thing on the course for you, for your team?
Oh, gosh, it was the basketball.
Right.
So bad.
Frustrating?
Oh, my God, I cried.
You cried?
I had another meltdown.
Because at the basketball court, it was not only you, it was your team and Carly's team on the court at the same time. At a point,
No.
Mass destruction.
Mass destruction. Right. Sorry, yeah. Amorous's team.
So we get there with a lead, and I'm like, okay, we could do this. Jay's telling me, oh my God, damn, we could do this. We're all really excited. And Tompi goes first. He misses, and it's okay. And I go, and I miss. And 50 shots later, I'm still missing. And
Tompi scored before you?
yeah, everybody scored before me. The other team comes up.
Right,
They
mass destruction
score,
scored
yeah.
and left you all there?
Yeah, but like they barely left us.
Right. After then left, he was like, nah, boy, go out, score this.
I was.
I lose it to Amorous twice in one.
So I was freaking out. And Jade was like, it's okay. She was rubbing my shoulder. She's like, Dan, it's okay. Tompi's like, yeah, Dan, all on you. like if I don't know it, all on me.
No, to be honest, because my wave was the second wave, we running down the hill at Tompi is at the end of the basketball court.
Mm-hmm.
I said, how you think it's going to get him? I said, we just wait to get his ball. Who we should get his ball? Right, but I watched the video on the bar page with you, and I wanted to be honest with me. Were you practicing your free throws?
I was.
I realized the form.
George was helping me. That's why he was like, you messed up on the basketball because we did work on it.
Right.
But I just.
Normally,
had the
sorry,
form.
apologies, but people, I should say people don't just take up a basketball and shoot it with form. Right? People do it Tompi.
Yeah. No, but I was practicing and.
Yeah.
She had too much weight on the balls of her feet.
Whatever.
Okay. George got the science behind it.
So I didn't.
So you begin now we're leaving the basketball court. That's inches behind mass destruction. You can see them and they can see you. They can feel you.
Yes. And we worked together for a bit. We were together. We had that carry coming back in.
Interesting wrinkle with the carry, George. Why?
Too much straight running.
Too much straight running.
Basketball court.
Not even from the basketball court, like from the forest. So you take out the luggage, just straight running.
No, I mean once, but then you stop at the basketball court.
Yeah.
And it was like that would have been too much straight running back to peg. So the carry helps to equalize it a little bit for those people who might be, strong but not as fast.
Right. You always say you don't want bar to just be
correct.
run centric. Yeah. So that's interesting wrinkle. You pick up the sandbags. Look for the latest one.
You got a latest one?
Some of them.
I got one.
Let's pick up one and move because at this point when y'all picking up the bikes together, y'all on mass destruction.
Yeah, we're together.
Neck and neck.
Yeah, we're together until I actually don't know.
From the video I saw, like you guys, they dropped the sandbags over the burn back into peg first. And then you and Jade are there, and then you see Tompi and Adan, they come. And then, according to Dominic, who was taking the video, basically you guys passed him on that field.
On that
Or running towards the 6-foot wall.
Yeah, on the wall, on that run into the 6-foot wall, which is like, that's not even 200 meters.
Right.
So,
But
I have to talk to
fair
mass
enough, we
destruction
had
as well.
so much recovery on the basketball court.
Yeah. Fair play to y'all, yeah. So you go, and then from there, it's just about obstacle proficiency on the course. How do you find the heat, handling the heat on the day?
Yeah, it was hot. It was really, really hot. My rash guard was soaked by the time I was done.
But it still worked, though.
It did work. Shout out to BioSteel.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but so y'all did not practice the pipe before, the slush pipe?
No.
So when y'all pick it up, it didn't feel heavy? Because, I mean, every year, that I know, I guess from not picking it up for an entire year, when you first pick it that lot, it always feels super heavy.
So I was like, why is this so heavy? It was incredibly heavy.
And the terrain was not simple. How did that go for y'all guys?
I mean, we got through it.
Well, I know, but Adande and Tompin did the most of the carrying.
Adande is like the mule, okay? Adande did not get off of the slush pipe. Everybody else,
last year.
Everybody else was interchanging, and he
just put on your head and say, no, you gotta do it. So it can't be forever.
He's such a good anchor. He's a really good athlete.
Tell me about the other obstacles now where you had to pick some person do the grips, had to pick some person do the anchors and flats, you had to pick some person do the container and the low traverse. Who did those for y'all guys?
The guys did the obstacles that were any two, the guys did.
So they did.
They're both really good on obstacles.
Yeah.
And then whenever it was one female and one male, Jade did the container and I did the low traverse.
Okay. How Jade Pooh get through with the container?
She was good, she was really good. I just knew that from the day in front, I was like, I can't do them back to back.
Right.
Because initially that was the plan, that I was going to do them back to back because I was a little more proficient. But
yeah.
And I, not to interrupt you, but I was planning to change that order because I was like, you got two traverse rigs here back to back, and you're gonna have the same muscles. And I was actually planning to change them, and somebody said, no, that's strategy. If they're stupid enough to get the same two people to do this,
I like that person rigs, though.
Then that's their fault. Teams should be able to choose to make sure that Yeah. So I left it, and
something that I find that happens a lot of the time with teams, and you can speak to this, George, is that you make up a strategy beforehand, and I've always said that you're gonna be able to think on the fly, but sometimes you will get to an obstacle, and you say to yourself, you are gonna do the anchors, and somebody start to get hurt,
right?
Or you can tell from the rings that. They may finish it good, but they just get the anchors, and because you tell you ain't thinking, they put their hand on the anchor first and go on, and then you realize, oh shoot.
Yeah, he shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, so how important is it to be able to restructure your strategy on the fly?
Yeah, you need a if A then B plan constantly for every phase of the race, for every obstacle, because like you have a plan, and if everything goes well, you stick to your plan. Right? You shouldn't be just changing it willy-nilly, but very rarely in obstacle course racing does everything run according to plan. So you should always have that kind of plan B in case something happens. And I think the best plan B is to try to make sure that everybody on your team can actually do the obstacle. They may not be perfectly proficient in it, but trying to come with two people who could do obstacles and two runners.
Yeah, no.
That's like in trouble.
It's a recipe. It's a recipe for a disaster.
If Jade couldn't do that, I mean, I don't know what would have happened.
Yeah, you would have probably had to take a little longer.
We literally made that change after the singles event. I got them together and I said, okay, so Jade's going to do one.
Right.
And I can do the other one. So.
This makes sense. Yeah. Second place then would have been Mass Destruction, Mark, Amaris, Simon, and Sabrina. I already, having never met this guy, I am afraid of Simon in the singles next year.
Oh my gosh.
I hear this man is a beast, George.
So
Your first time seeing him?
Yeah, you know what? I used to see him at PEG, right? Because he teaches. He's a teacher.
Yeah.
And he teaches at the school at PEG. And I would see him, and he would go out on the rig and do like the monkey bars at high round and so on. And I didn't know at that point in time that he was going to be in the race.
Right.
But apparently...
I always would tell you, hey, you get off my monkey bars.
I said, you got to pay to use them. But apparently he's like a top CrossFit athlete. He has an amazing engine. So yeah, I think he's definitely going to be a permanent fixture in that team next year.
Anytime I hear Amaris commenting to the point of freaking out on somebody's engine, because she's be wrong all these people with top engines. I tell myself, this man had to be impressive. This man don't cut out.
Yeah. Although I will tell everybody in singles, there's a Coach Leo Garn says that if he ever jump in the race, look out. When he saw Coach Garn's running with the camera, the whole way with Amaris, right? So
Because the coach, guys, I would love to see him in the 55 plus category. give it in some competition. I'm afraid of a heap of obstacles, man. I'm afraid of a Malik Simon.
Right.
These young bulls are out there that just got a natural aptitude as well for the thing. Always unearthing these gems. How is it feel to see these guys come out, man?
Like people ask me who I want to win the race. Who you want to win? I'll be like, I don't care who wins. Everybody who enters BAR is supporting the event. They're supporting me. So I just want everybody to go out there and express their fitness.
Yeah.
Have fun on the course. And not root. You can't root for. You don't have to root against somebody to root for another person.
Yeah.
You know, just go out there and may the best team wins.
Yeah.
May the best team win. And I want my athletes, inverted commas, the ones who train, to go out there and perform well. And if you perform well and the other team's better on the day, then they deserve to win.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how I feel about that part. So yeah, I like to see new people come in.
I
like
love
to see
it.
new faces.
Yeah.
The sport needs to grow.
Exactly.
New athletes to make the sport grow.
It's scary, but in order, if people like Dan and myself are going to remain like quote unquote elites, then that means that the sport ain't growing. We gotta fight to continue to be called elites because it's always good to have them people pushing you. So mass destruction in second. Where do you think that where do you think they went wrong, or where do you think they could have improved on?
I don't know that anything went wrong because I think these guys were just faster once they got on the peg. And I think maybe with time, if Simon's a little bit more obstacle proficient, maybe if Mark was in a little better shape. But these guys were just faster and just better over the obstacles. So it was just, if it was a race from the time they started peg, they would have won. So it's just on the day they were the better team. Nothing went wrong as far as I could see.
And then we had a team Helter Skelter.
So if you remember the prediction podcast, I told you that I felt like if Ali could get through the obstacles, they had a chance because
it's a nice team. I like that team.
The two guys, Lindell and Julian, they're very good. They're both very obstacle proficient. They're both very strong and they're fast and fit.
They're committed as well. They put in the work.
Caroline is not as fast, not as fit, but she's smooth on the obstacles. Super smooth on the obstacles. So really, for me, the question mark was going to be Ali. We know what injury she has. Right?
She doesn't cut out.
She
probably walk around with 1 and 3.
Exactly. So the main question was how was she going to do on the obstacles? Yeah. And leading up to the event, she spent some more time practicing them this year than last year. Right. And bronze medal for them, which I think they're very happy with. Bronze medal
out of wave 2. That's keep highlighting to everyone watching that it doesn't matter what wave you're in. It's a time final.
A time final.
Yeah. You could be in a fast wave and get left back, or you could be in a second wave, or whatever we call a slower wave, and just dominate that and still find yourself on the podium as Helter Skelter did. They ran really well. Yeah, they ran a solid
and I guess
race.
as a team,
and efficient.
They gel well as a team because they're always together. I think some of them work together.
Julian and
Caroline work together. Yeah. And they are very much in the running to be on or about the podium again next year, I think.
Well, there are two different types of teams. They're not knocking team, but there's teams that put together that you could tell these teams, and then they got teams that are more like familial, Bucket Up, MacGyvers, same Helter Skelter. With the team that you can see team there too, that always come up with the same squad. What do you think of that in terms of chemistry for a bar team? How important is that? I suppose people are saying we can talk about it on WhatsApp.
I think chemistry is important, but obviously ability is
can't trump talent.
You can't trump talent. And if you are not the most talented team, inverted commas on paper in a race, then you have to have chemistry. You have to be able to gel well together. You have to be able to support one another. You have to buoy each other up.
Know each other's team.
You have to buoy each other up because when you start to struggle, somebody's shouting in your ear who you don't know.
You got to know who you can shout at and who you can't shout at. Yeah.
And if you and me we've been in the trenches together, I know that I'm not going to take it personally, but you just come now and you hollering at me, I'll give you a slap in your face. right. You shouting at. But if a team is super talented and they're super experienced and they understand the event well, you could throw four of them together. They chat for a little bit on WhatsApp, like she said. They already know the strategy for most of those major obstacles. It's just a matter of executing on the day.
And what I also love about it, because we know everybody ain't going to win. I think that these teams that are more like friends teams and family teams, and they got that chemistry or whatever, that what is good about them is that it helps to create bonds. And it's the same way that happens with corporate the corporate events. People at work is get closer to each other, learn how to strategize and communicate with each other. It happens with friends as well. And that's one of the things one of the residual effects of bar that I don't even know if you would have had it in mind. Right. But you out there saving relationships, George.
And maybe creating some new ones as well. But I think, remember I keep saying this, everybody's got their own podium.
Yeah.
Right. And when you look at MacGyver's was so close to the podium last year that somebody called up the name for medal, and then they had to get back the medals last year.
Yeah, remember that.
So actually going through this year and competing, and I think they were fifth overall.
Fifth or sixth. Probably sixth, yeah.
Yeah, that was a major, major achievement for them. Even like, if you think of Dan Newitt's team, Goats Gone Wild, they are so happy with a 10th place, with a top 10 finish.
Right.
You know, and so everybody knows when they start the race. Some teams don't expect to be on the podium. Mm-hmm. Some teams may not even be able to thinking that they're going to finish, but they get through it, they finish, they're top 10, and for them that is a major achievement and something for them to be proud of, for sure.
And speaking of major engines and improvements and people that did really well this year and outstanding performances, my MVP for the weekend goes to Heather, right? Because she did corporate in the morning and come back and do it. And this is her first year come and do competitive.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
So that's Heather Walker, and she's part of Chance Recall to the Bar. Yeah. And I did advise, I felt she could do it, but I advised them strongly against it. Right. Because I didn't want her first bar experience to be one where she felt like she let down the team, or she ended up like sore for 3 weeks afterwards or whatever.
Oh, is she doing all the
I think she's all right. She made a post on Instagram, which is a really touching post today, talking about her experience. Great. So, Heather's super fit. She's a natural athlete. She knows how to compete. So she stepped up and got them through. And they finished.
With that late entry.
They were top 10 as well.
They were top 10. I think they were the 8th or 9th. Probably 8th, yeah. So big hill to Heather, big hill to Janelle. Janelle and them always there or there about on the day, though.
I have to tell you, though, listen, when I saw them finishing, I had to go to the dive platform because at that point in time, Jamie had left everything on the course. Right? And I was like, let me go here in case this man fall off his thing. My man's eyes were rolling into the back of his head. Oh, no. Janelle had him like arm in arm. But from the time he hit that dive platform and he saw that finish line, all of a sudden he had a new surge of energy.
Big up yourself, Jamie, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just turn yourself inside out for bar, man. Correct. All right, so we capped for the last hour. Right. Bar 2021 November. But we gotta look at 2022. No, even Boxing Day this year. We already Jones and Dan and they talk 3 or 4 times already.
Fiending for this workout.
Like I wake up Wednesday. But Tuesday was a bank holiday. I wake up Wednesday after work, thinking to myself, oh shoot, 4 o'clock I got training. I thought it was Monday. Right. And I thought I had to go and do skills training at Surfside.
On the other hand, on Wednesday morning when I did not have to get up for 5:30, I was quite happy.
right.
I was quite happy. So yeah, we're gonna try and do a little Boxing Day workout. I haven't finalized the venue yet. I have a few things in mind.
Nice.
And 2022 promises to be a good year. If we can get this whole COVID thing under control. I have a whole calendar of events planned for the year. We're going to structure them a little differently. We're looking at doing something in June. We're looking at doing coast to coast. Obviously, we're doing the 5K trail mix. We got all the pop-ups.
Benchmarks again. I think that you did a really good job this year, George. Definitely. Kudos to you of raising the bar almost. I'm leading us along on the bar crawl. Yeah. Where it started from the benchmarks, and the coast to coast, the other benchmark, and the 5K trail mix, and the pop-ups. Every month there was something.
Yeah. And we're trying to get back to June, but I don't want June and November to look the same. So I have a different idea for what we can do in June. Don't want to break it yet because obviously we need to put some things in place first. But June will be fun if we get it to happen. It won't be a team event though, but just an individual event. Yeah. And just push on down. Even from March, we have an event that we're working on for March as well, so look out for that. Keep your eyes on the page. All through the year, there's something happening.
Yeah, that's probably one of your biggest challenges. You want bar to be something that people look forward to, not that the casual people like, wait, they ain't that's at the bar. Exactly. You gotta go bar. They have no bar in June, you got one in November too, but you gotta be something different. It can't be the El Clasico that every time you let Rona go on.
Exactly, So, but hopefully next year, hopefully. I think we're going to get a little bit more support from some sponsors. I think we've proven to the sponsors this year. David Sumerick was there. He was super happy with the event.
Thank you very much.
David's
I'm
got
only
a
trust.
critical eye. David's got a really critical eye. So if David said, George, there's nothing wrong, he's happy with it. I already see some things I want to change. I think I can make that finish line a little bit more exciting. I think I can make it even more spectator friendly. I think the other sponsors are happy as well. I think we've proven...
We could do it, put some coach there, right? Make a run through coach.
We can have that guy who just got on that plane. Shooting at people.
That's how we're going to start the race next year.
So it's just a matter of getting that little additional support to make sure that we can do things at the same level and standard we've done. I think, the branding on BAR is very high. We don't give out, the medals feel like you could...
The medals are heavy, then quality medals.
Yeah, so I think those are some of the things, the rash guards, all those things are things that have helped to build the brand.
Finisher shirts, please, guys. We see you begging people not to lend. We earn those, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad because there was one team that I had to call them and tell them we need back those finisher shirts.
Right.
Because it was the NA day and they gave back in their chips and all the volunteers were starting to pack up and somebody gave them a finisher shirt. And I had to ask back for them because, that's tough, right? People feel, and I think next year there's a couple changes we're going to make for next year. One is we're going to put limits on the time you can be on any obstacle, right? Where people are on obstacles for extended periods of time, it really builds drama, but after a while you have to protect the athlete from themselves.
Yeah.
So maybe a 10-minute limit per athlete per obstacle. It still has a drama attached to it. They still get multiple attempts.
10 minutes, no, you know that when you get to 8 minutes, pressure on anywhere, boy.
Right. Sure. But then, it doesn't stop teams coming behind. You don't end up with 15 teams at the Traverse, for example. And I think the other thing...
Is there only one obstacle that's happened really good? That's the Sand Traverse.
Yeah. I mean, the first year it happened on Slick Wall.
Men forgot Slick Wall,
So, and then the other thing too is like to kind of be kind to people and let them have a bar experience. We've been taking people's chips and letting them finish the course. I think we just take your chip from next year. So if you stick up, we take your chip and you're off the course because now it doesn't have the implications for further on the course. You're blocking up teams that are actually still in it.
Yeah.
But then you can get to the finish line and you can want to finish a t-shirt, right? Not that it's about the finish a t-shirt, but it's about finishing. It's a team event, right? Which means you have to manage 4 people over the entire course to that finish line. And if you don't do it, then it happens. Part of this race is that sometimes you don't get through. So,
and to anybody that feel like first of all, we know we ain't got next year put down, but it's always talk about the first 2 years of me not getting a rash guard. All it does is help to motivate you. The same way that you said last year, individuals help center your focus on what you're going to do this year. Guys, get out there, get your teams. We all know female bar athletes come at a premium. It's time for y'all ladies to start charging. I was doing for this. I see, but the last 2 weeks, people like Leander and Carla Nels, getting offered contracts.
Right.
She would have run with the Sabrina. Not Sabrina, outdoor fitness too.
Oh, right.
Shakira,
yes.
She come in late addition. For right now, that's a $5,000 contract.
And again, in that same vein, we mentioned Philip Seven before, and I want to mention Philip Seven again because my heart goes out to him. So this year he's 4th, just off the podium.
Yeah.
He had a great race last year as well.
Yeah.
And 2 years in a row, he hasn't gotten his whole team to the finish line.
Yeah,
each time. But this year, obviously, it was COVID affected because Laura Fishman was meant to be on that team and she couldn't compete. And he had a couple girls jumping at the last minute.
Kudos to them for any boy that jump into bar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But not able to get to that finish line with your whole team intact is heartbreaking.
And
to do it
also,
2 years in a row is really, really hard.
The last time they were able to complete with 3 people, which was in itself an achievement. Right. This time they made it as far as the low traverse. George is a demon and a monster for putting that so late in the race because that's the race. That's a part. If a man feel that they're so as he get up a peg, he can say, "All right, cool." At least I listen to in the Atlas story and the grapes and all that. But to feel that day when you only have 2 more things to do afterwards.
Yeah.
After that day, you just got to go carry that pipe and get the ropes, and that's how I felt about it when I saw Amanda. Amanda was cramping really badly, but she made sure to get through it. Thanks to that, Amanda. It was like, when we get through this, and the race done because it ain't really more that feelable here. You can feel the ropes, but chances are we going to get through. And the dive platform isn't any more available than it is scary.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It just looks intimidating, but once you get on it, it's not that difficult.
Yeah, it kind of like the fire at
Right.
the at Sparta. There's something inconvenience.
Mm-hmm.
So to get to that stage and be like, I just gotta get through this traverse bar, and then to see, because heart goes out to Bassa again. I as I said,
Two girls and a death wish.
I know that I said I was keeping away from people, but I had to give Catherine one big hug after because I could see how much work she was putting in. I know you're not going to move the positioning of that because it really becomes a spectator frenzy, especially and because people just want to see the team finish, but you're also working against the sunlight.
Yeah. And you have to protect people at some point in time. You can't have people running in gully without light. It's just not safe. You know. So, and then after spending half hour, 45 minutes on an obstacle, having just run 10K, what sort of condition are they going to be in for the rest of the course?
Especially that point.
You still got exactly. So, you know, it's unfortunate, but I think, you know, everybody who does bar understands what it's about. People will be disappointed for a little while. They shake it off and come back next year and try and do better.
Exactly. That I told her as much because I could see I was down there with her and
she was down there coaching her, and I'm like, sorry, Catherine, but I was like, stop coaching because I want to go. I was like, you stop coaching.
I couldn't stop.
I wanted her to, like, you know, obviously more seriously. I could see that if she carried on, she was going to hurt herself.
Yeah, no. I even told her at one point, I said, I think we need to call it a day. Her forearms, you could see the veins, you could see how swollen they were. And she was like, every time she was
effort.
Like, she just kept going and going and going. And I just told her to take that into next year. Like that
and that's why people always ask me to, like, which is more important to you, the individual or the team. And I always come out and tell them, team, to be honest with you, first of all, because you want the rash guard. But I find with team, you don't just let down yourself.
It's the weight of it.
You have all of these people who've gone to battle with you, who have been uncomfortable, who have been in the trenches with you. Right. So you start to get this real feeling of pride and also like brotherhood on the course. So, and it means more for me. Like, I can finish a workout, I can finish a pop-up. But to finish the team is feel a lot. That finish the team for the is way more valuable to me. The rash guard is way more valuable to me than anything that the individuals. I mean, like individuals, you get the personal glory, but I just say it came back to the chemistry and the fact that you see some people come and they may not be as bar proficient as before, and watch them fall in love with the sport, and they coming back to training every week, and that's why I love MacGyvers as well, because we see them improving. And that's why I love Team Day 2, or today, whatever they call themselves now, tomorrow. But they're always bringing in some young athlete or whatever, and bringing them along and helping them to fall in love with sport. That, to me, is a true sense of bar, because everyone is not going to be elite athlete. And the growth of bar is going to come in the average person falling in love with the sport.
But more than that, you don't actually have to be one of the better individual bar athletes to podium. You know, and
once again, to Helter Skelter.
I mean, you know, I think Caroline would admit this. If we had to put Caroline in singles, she probably wouldn't be top 5.
Right.
Last year, again with Connect 4, obviously they had a different outcome. They had a little different team.
Yeah.
If you have to put Gina in the singles, she's not going to be top 5 or top 4.
Yeah.
But put her as part of a team, and she gets to, you know, put her strengths on display, and as a team, they could be up there and get on that podium for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, even look at Team Bar Steel. Top in necessary, top 5 or top 4. And they can stick around with you.
3 athletes in top 8.
Guys, I can't believe this is the last time you're going to be talking bar on the podcast, because for sure Danny and I are going to be talking bar for December, because all we want for Christmas is a bar workout. And but it's almost bittersweet to bring the podcast season to an end. Looking forward to 2022 though, George. No lie.
Yeah, and again, big shout out to Be Social, and big thank you to James. We couldn't have done it without you. And,
thank you, James. Are you got out the prediction podcast really quickly as well? Thanks for that.
Yeah. And I know it's given us a very professional platform to get our message out. And we, again, thank you to Be Social. Everybody out there who has a message to get out, the podcast and long form conversation is the best way to do it. So
I mean, this podcast getting longer and longer. We all say we stick it at a half hour.
Now it's like 2 hours.
But it's a review, so that's why it's so long. We had so much to talk about. Anything else you want to get out there before we
just keep your eyes on the page, bar_race. The results are up on the website now.
And the
full
Facebook
result
as well.
is on it, and Facebook as well. So just stay in touch. Look out for what's happening. If you have any brands out there who want to get involved with the event, give us a shout. We're looking to grow all the time, and we need your support for sure.
And we can grow not only in terms of athletes. If you think you're not going to be a bar athlete, even if you're not going to do competitive or open wave, corporate, whatever, be a volunteer. Be a part of the family. You can be a part of the family. I know that if you're watching this podcast all the way down to an hour and 15 minutes, you probably love obstacle course racing in some form. And we welcome you to the family. Find a way to be a part of it. Even if you help build an obstacle, you come and help marshal the course, tape out the course, anything, because we can't do it for everyone. And the more hands, the better it's going to be. And we're going to continue to grow. We are the only sporting event in Barbados right now. Thank you, COVID.
Right. Triathlon had it.
Yeah, triathlon had it. Yeah. So, guys, that's it for the last time for the Barcast podcast for season 2021. I'm Salt.
I'm George.
And I'm Danny G.
Thank you very much, Danny G, for your sponsorship as well. Guys, see you all next year, man.